Okay, so hello everybody. My name's Kirsty Miller and from the University of Strathclyde, and we're here today to talk about the TQFE. Also joined by Robert Collins, who's course director for the TQFE.
Hi
And
everyone, it's nice to be here.
and we'll bring Robert in a wee bit later as well to talk more about the course. So we'll just get started today. So I'm just going to share my screen and I'll show you a little presentation. Just coming up now. Hopefully I'll be able to see it shortly. Okay. From beginning, but here. Okay, here we are. So yes, so the TQFE called Leading Learning and Transformative Practice in Colleges. And we're going to talk today about the qualification itself and links to the GTCS professional standards. Okay, so just an overview of the programme then, just to start us off. The programme itself aims to provide a student-centred, socially progressive and research-informed journey to enable them to be leaders of learning and transformative practice in colleges, transformative practice in colleges. What it will do for the learners is it will encourage an active and questioning and inquiring stance while placing sustainability and inclusivity at the core. We find that really important. First of all, the transformative practice, socially progressive learning and teaching, and inclusivity and sustainability. So that's the kind of foundations of the programme itself. So I'm just going to tell you a little about what's involved. An overview. There are 3 modules within the TQFE. Module 1 is Leading Learning in Colleges. Module 2 is Transformative Practice through Inquiry. And Module 3 is Achieving Professional Standards. I'm going to go into them in more detail in just a moment. So first to tell you is about the mode of delivery, how you will be studying with us at the University of Strathclyde for your TQFE. So it is an online format and you have access to the VLE. I'll show you a wee snippet of it in a moment, but it is a very kind of important VIP, if you like, VLE page, and it's got lots of functionality on it, and like I said, I'll show you that shortly. The seminars themselves are fortnightly with your Strathclyde tutors. I'll talk more about the Mondays in between, which are mentor sessions later. And then they do take place on a Monday AM, and then timings will be confirmed near the time. So online, fortnightly seminars, Monday mornings. So entry requirements, you might want to know what level that you could complete the TQFE. There are 2 levels, level 9, the graduate certificate, and level 11, the postgraduate certificate. So we'll first start talking about entry requirements then for level 9. So ideally you would have a HND level 8, and that can be at your subject specialism. Or if you don't have a level 8 HND, then we would accept a level 7 HNC. This is really only if your specific qualification is only offered at level 7, and that's the highest that it can be achieved. If there was no progression upwards of level 7, then we would accept that. What we would need to potentially discuss is any relevant education, teaching and industry experience that you might have. There's some qualifications that you can undertake with like the CDN to sort of upskill your teaching practice if you wish to do so. The other qualification that we would accept if your college offers it is the PDA, Teaching Practices in Scotland's Colleges, and that's at level 9. Just to note, all of both level 9 and 11 require a minimum of level 4 maths, level 5 ICT, and level 6 English, and that would be a sort of minimum requirement if that wasn't obviously already included in the highest qualification that you already hold. Entry requirements then for a level 11, similar in terms of the maths, the ICT and the English, but we would require a relevant degree for the postgraduate certificate level, that would be level 9 or 10. If you don't have a degree, then it would be more suitable for you to complete the course at level 9.
It might be worthwhile me interjecting here, Kirsty, to say that if you do have a PDA, that can be held in lieu of the maths, ICT and English, which has been quite helpful in the past. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, so that would be, if you did the PDA, yeah, you would sort of had that included. So that's great, thank you. Something that's really important, and this is mandatory requirements for both levels. So bearing in mind what you've seen for level 9 and then level 11, you can decide where you're best placed. This is something though that's mandatory, whichever level you decide to come on. Number one is that you must be employed by a Scottish college. So unfortunately, we wouldn't really accept any sort of agreements that you made or informal agreements with colleges to, if you like, take classes. You would need to be employed by the college itself, whichever one you're at. And also you must be able to guarantee that you will have 120 hours of teaching for the whole entire duration of the course. I'll talk more later about the breakdown of where we would allocate those teaching hours, but you need to make sure that you do have those 120 hours for the course. Okay, so like I said, a wee breakdown. This is the full-time route, one that we've already been doing for the last couple of years, and it's just based on 1 year. So you can see the kind of route here then in semester 1, if you go down, it would be module 1 that you would start with, leading learning in colleges. And running concurrently, you would be also undertaking module 3, achieving professional standards. So that would go down as I feel like in the flow chart there. And then in semester 2, you would have then completed module 1 and be moving on to module 2. But again, you would also be concurrently undertaking module 3. So module 3 runs from the very start of the course to the very end. And then you've got the other 2 modules that sit beside it. Just a wee note there of the teaching hours. Module 1, leading learning in colleges. You would need to attribute 20 hours. You would need 20 hours of teaching for that module. And then in semester 2, you would need 40 hours of teaching for module 2, and then 60 for module 3, and that adds up to your 120. Okay, we are running a part-time route this year. This will be the first year for it, but we're very excited about that because that will offer a lot of flexibility to yourselves, because you may not have those dedicated weekly Mondays every single week for studying, or you may just not have the time commitments available. So with the part-time route, that's great because that runs over 2 years, and you achieve the qualification after completing both years. So how this will work then is it's kind of going sideways this time. Year 1, moving into semester 1, it would just be module 1, leading learning in colleges. So only the one module running at a time. So year 1, semester 1, module 1. And then in year 1, semester 2, you would take on module 2. It's quite straightforward the way that works out. So semester 1, module 1, semester 2, module 2. And at the end of that year, you would have completed module 1 and 2. Same teaching hours, so 20 hours required for module 1 and 40 required for module 2. In year 2, then you would just commit the entire year to module 3, achieving professional standards. I am going to go into more detail in a moment about the modules themselves individually, but this is just to give you an overview of what the routes look like, or what the kind of format and structure of the course is. Okay, so moving into module 1, leading learning in colleges. I've included a little picture there on the right-hand side of a sort of snapshot of the VLE. And I wanted to show you this because it just presents how nice the VLE is. It's very, very user-friendly. The students over the past 2 years have had nothing but good things to say about it. Really easy to navigate. And you can see there that in most weeks, you've got a really good variety of different activities. So in this snapshot, there's a video, readings, a blog, more reading and videos, and then the online seminar. So there's lots of variety in your learning, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy having that variety there on the VLE. So with module 1, and actually with all of the modules, it is a flipped learning model where all the materials will be on the VLE, and you'll be expected to have a look over them and complete any blogs or forums ahead of the session. So the material's always done ahead of the class. And then when you come into the class, it is more so about that deeper knowledge, sort of peer learning and discussing the concepts, as opposed to completing lots of things or reading lots of things during the session itself. So the flipped learning model is really good because it gives you that foundation before you step into, or you virtually step into the session, and you'll have an idea of what's going to be discussed in that seminar. It's also really good because it means you can do the learning in your own time. So between the Monday to the next seminar, you have that time. If it's fortnightly, then you have that time to sort of go over the material, and even there's forums you can ask any questions that you might have any questions for. The material, so asynchronous activities that take place on your own time, and then the synchronous activities that will take place during the seminar. Most of the weeks you'll see that there's a seminar preparation tile, and that'll tell you exactly what is required of you that particular seminar. So for module 1, the themes explored throughout that module, we've just got a few listed. It's not exhaustive, it's just a few examples. There's positionality, social justice, diversity in learning, planning learning and teaching, delivering learning and teaching, and evaluating learning and teaching. And all of these things combined, and all of the other concepts that you'll learn in the theories, sort of give you that foundation to undertake the assessment, which is a case study based on you and your learning and teaching. But I will talk about that next. I'll pop to the next slide and we can have a look. So the module 1 assignment is a 5-part assignment. It is probably, for all of the modules, potentially the most extensive assessment that you will undertake throughout the TQFE. But it's designed that way just so that you have that foundation really of knowledge, so that you can implement that and learn and reflect throughout the course. So part 1 of the assignment is really about, it's actually kind of about yourself, but it's what your assumptions are, your assumptions and beliefs about yourself, about your institution, about your students, and about your learning and teaching. So it's assumptions that you hold of yourself, and actually the positionality seminars really help to make you understand what it is that you believe about yourself and what your assumptions are. Then part 2 is both a group profile and then factors that impact upon learning. And this is again is about your own class. So you pick a course in particular that you teach, you do a profile about them, and this sort of builds your case study. So it's quite unique in terms of you're often given a case study and you have to work on it. You're essentially building this case study, and it's all about you and about your learners. Which is really, really good, because a lot of the course is about being socially progressive and reflections and what you do to reflect on your own learning and teaching. Part 3 is about planning to lead learning. So you start to create a lesson plan or a learning session plan for one of your courses, the one that you've talked about in the group profile. And then in parts 4 and 5, what you're doing then is you're discussing rationale / justification of your choices that you made in the planning, and then evaluating that. How did it go? And all of this, it does seem like quite a lot, but all of this sets you up for moving forward into module 2 and 3, because it starts to give you that idea of who are you as an educator and how can you have this transformation in your practice. And I guess that's what it's all about. Module 2, transforming practice through inquiry, is a sort of research-based module. Again, it's got the flipped learning model, and it has its asynchronous and synchronous activities included. The themes within this, again, these are just picked out. You know, it's a massive list of amazing things that you'll learn. But the themes explored here are research and education, socially progressive education, professional inquiry, data collection for educational research, and then digital tools. And so basically what you'll be doing is you're going to undertake a small scale research project, something that you're passionate about. And again, it's leading from module 1, because from module 1 you'll have identified who you are as an educator and where your passions lie and what you like, you know, what you want to transform and which way you want to sort of go down. And in module 2 then you get to actually carry this out and do some small scale research into something that means something to you in your practice. A few pictures on the right are just some examples of some slides from previous student work, and it has been a really well enjoyed module. Robert's here, and Robert's module leader for module 1, but I'm sure he won't mind me saying that module 2, the students, they really get their teeth into it because they've gotten all that knowledge and they've sort of, you know, they're at the stage now in module 2 where they're actually ready to implement some of this. And this is where you get to do that. You get to carry out your research. So it is a well-known fact that students really, really enjoy module 2.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, Kirsty. The module 1 itself seems a tad onerous, but actually it sets you up really well with a really great foundation in order to really enjoy your time in module 2. And it is one of the most popular modules, and particularly the presentation days. They're just fantastic.
Yeah, you really enjoy it. We've obviously been to a previous event, a showcase event, and the students came away with that, and they kind of the number one things they were saying was that they really enjoyed hearing what their peers were interested in, and I mean the presentations themselves were excellent, and so I think all round it was a really great day, and we look forward to that every single year. So again, looking forward to it this time round as well. Okay, so a bit about that. So the module 2 assignment, this is the sort of flow. There is only one part to this really, and in terms of the assessed element, which is a presentation of findings, which I've highlighted at the end. However, I thought maybe it'd be good to give you a flow of how that assignment is built. So first you would be identifying a research topic. And again, it really must be something that you're interested in. There's no point, I guess, picking something just for the sake of it, and maybe it's the easiest thing to do or whatever, because if you do something that you truly believe in, then that is leading you towards transforming your practice. And when you carry out the presentation, you'll be able to identify ways in which that will impact your future practice. So really find something that you love, something that you're very interested in, and talk about that, and it'll, you know, you can't go wrong. Then so identifying a research topic is first, carrying out your actual research would be next, collecting that data and analysing that data, and compiling it into a digital artefact. That is one of the requirements of the assessment, is that you would create a digital artefact, and then you would present that either on the showcase day itself if you're level 11, or you would pre-record yourself going through the presentation a bit like what I'm doing today, and then you would upload that to the VLE, and that's how that would be assessed at that point. We had a research project last year. I'm going to talk about Ailey. Robert, you can as well if you like. But we had a really fantastic submission last year. It was based around AI. And actually this student got a very high mark, and it was a brilliant presentation. We all really enjoyed hearing about it. But the reason I'm talking about that is actually she then entered that research project into the CDN Awards last year, because it was so excellent and it was very inspirational and transformative. Unfortunately didn't win, but she was highly commended, which was great, and we were very happy to hear that. But it just shows you that if you find something that you're very interested in, you can then share that with your institution. We have professional development networks at the college I work at, and potentially you would have them at your colleges also, and it's something you can share with your colleagues. So it's not just it's TQFE assignment, let's tick that box and put it away. It's something you can use moving forward that might shape your practice. So again, highly important to choose a topic that means something to you. How did you feel about the presentation about AI at the last showcase, Robert? Did you also enjoy it?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't. I mean, I couldn't add more to that statement. Kirsty did said it so well there, but it was an excellent example of partnership between college and university. And the colleague in question, I mean, there were loads of really good presentations last year. And the colleague in question took it just that wee bit further, and I think she was runner up if I'm correct. But essentially, it was really good to see actually someone really putting their heart and soul into something and getting a real reward for it, as well as the sort of credits for the score. So yeah, I absolutely concur with everything you said there, Kirsty. Fantastic.
Yep, I really enjoyed watching it as well. It was very good. Okay, so moving on to module 3, achieving professional standards. So remember, this is for if you're on a full-time route, this is the module that runs throughout. So right from the very first day, all the way right to the very last day at the Viva. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. So if you're doing the full-time route, it's something that should always or will always be on your mind. And if you're doing the part-time route, then you've got all that to look forward to in year 2. Again, I've just popped in to say it is flipped learning model for all of the modules, and again, always asynchronous and synchronous activities throughout for this module. Some of the themes explored here are reflective practice, reflexive thinking and adaptive actions, collaborative practice, and of course the professional standards. I will talk at the end about how the GTCS professional standards are massively embedded into this course, and actually not just at the surface level. It's actually very kind of runs all the way throughout, and it really does kind of improve the students' awareness of the professional standards, and yeah, it's really good for their practice moving forward. So it does include the professional standards, and what really happens in module 3 is you understand about the impact reflective practice has on you as a practitioner. It has been noted, some of the students have commented in the past about how they didn't really reflect as much as they do now, having done the TQFE. And it's something that really does improve their practice and shapes everything that they do. So it is essential to sort of start to understand how to do reflective practice, and then how to do it really in this course is we use a portfolio. So you will log your reflections into the portfolio. I have a page about that. So to build for the module 3 assignment, there are a couple of things that go towards the assessment itself. The assessment itself is a one-time Viva, so it's an actual you log in, you engage in a professional discussion with some of your university tutors, and you just talk about the journey that TQFE is taking you on. However, what you can use for that Viva discussion is your observations. So you will have 2 observations throughout the whole year of your studies, or if part-time route, then over the 2 years, you will have your 2 observations. While they're not technically assessed, there are documentation that go with the observations that you should or you will need to upload to your Pebble Pad, to your portfolio, which then go towards the Viva. Regardless of the observations being assessed as such, it is almost one of the most after the fact enjoyable things that the students talk about. Of course they're nervous, and of course they put a lot of work into it, and then once it's done they actually reflect on how important and impactful it was to them. And from what I've heard from feedback, they thoroughly enjoy it, and they also enjoy the feedback that they receive, which impacts their practice also. As well as the observations and the observation documentation, you'll also be undertaking several reflective entries in your portfolio. These, honestly, they can be very much anything, from something that you've read that's a wee bit of a light bulb moment. You've thought, wow, I've just read that and it's really been something that's going to impact me in my practice. And so you can pop that up onto your portfolio and reflect upon, what it was that you found so interesting about it. It can be a conversation with colleagues. So you can have, again, a sort of inspirational or even just a collaborative conversation with your colleagues, which can be something that impacts you in some way. There's many more examples. Once you get started, you'll see what they are. But honestly, as long as you're reflecting on that and you're talking about your sort of reflexive actions that you've had to undertake, then that's all that matters. And then, like I said, the assessment at the very end of the course is the Viva. And I'm going to show you a wee video in a minute. And actually, I was surprised to hear that the Viva was their absolute most favourite moment of the course itself, because you would imagine you might be a bit worried about a Viva, but no, students absolutely loved it. So that hopefully reassures you that you will also enjoy it, or at least it's something to look forward to, talking about your TQFE journey and what it's meant to you. So I think that's potentially why they enjoyed it so much. Okay, so that was the three modules that we've talked about. If you have any questions about that, of course, you can ask at the end, and anything that comes up, you can give us a wee shout about. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about mentorship. It's unique, we feel, to the University of Strathclyde, having a mentor, someone who's there who doesn't necessarily, potentially always teach on the programme, but is someone who's there to support you in your TQFE journey. Like I said, it is, we think, reasonably unique that it's an in-house mentor. I feel like it's someone who's always there for you, someone who can support you, check over work, for example, and just sort of give that clarity that you need at some points during your journey. For the full-time route, this looks like bi-weekly mentor sessions. So I had discussed before that the seminars were fortnightly. So the mentorship sort of slots in between. So the kind of reasonable format normally would be a seminar, a mentorship session, a seminar, etc. So while the seminars are mandatory and obviously attendance is monitored, mentorship sessions are highly recommended. Students find them so kind of valuable. This is a couple of word clouds that we've captured from last year's cohort, and you can see that some of the words they're saying, it's clarity and support assignments, sessions were invaluable, supportive, helpful resources. So you can see there's collaborative relationships. That's my favourite one, actually, and I'll speak about that in a moment. But you can see that the support was valued, and so I would highly recommend that you obviously attend those mentorship sessions. The second bullet point about support with coursework and assessment understanding. It's not, I suppose, somewhere where you can come and we will tell you what to do with the assessments. Everything to do with assessment, you should be working on your own. But what it really will do is support with the understanding around it, making the materials and the assessment maybe a bit clearer to you, and get that kind of further clarity you need to sort of undertake these assessments confidently. The third bullet point, though, however, is my absolute favourite part about mentorship sessions, and I think the most important part, is that it completely utilises peer learning and peer evaluation. The sort of setup of the mentorship sessions are that it's not like a seminar. You don't come in and the mentor, goes through structured learning. It's more about, or kind of mostly about, what you can learn from each other. So a lot of the times we'll pose a question, or we'll have something we want to discuss, and you'll have a chat, and you can share in breakout rooms some of your work with each other, some of your concepts, some of your ideas that you're coming up with, and it really is a very collaborative space, and it's something that you find that students find really, really useful. Okay, so I had mentioned before about professional standards. Most TQFEs in most university, every university that is included because it allows you to get full registration as a result of obtaining your TQFE with the GTCS. However, I honestly would say here that the University of Strathclyde goes much more beyond that minimum requirement. It's not just mentioned, it's not just there in the background. It really is embedded through absolutely everything that you do through the TQFE course, leading learning course. So it's completely embedded, and it ticks more than just the boxes. We had feedback before from students from the first pilot programme who actually hadn't even potentially opened up the professional standards for lecturers in Scotland's colleges before. And they, were quite honest about the fact that they started from very little knowledge to leaving with really full, well-rounded knowledge of the professional standards themselves. So it is very I would say, unique to Strathclyde that we have this really good embedding of the professional standards throughout all of the modules, but of course, significantly with Module 3, achieving the professional standards. So, Robert, if you wouldn't mind, if there's anything, I know I've talked quite a bit there, but if there's anything you want to say a wee bit about the course in general.
Absolutely fantastic, Kirsty. I can't thank you enough. You covered every single thing there in great detail and very accurately. I think it's tantamount to the quality of the course that we've got the likes of yourself partnering with us and being a mentor on the course, or the in-house mentor as you call it, and it's a very, very high standard of work that comes out from the course. As a course director, I'm absolutely just delighted at the comments from students about the course itself. It's a great bunch of colleagues, and I include you in that, Kirsty, that work on the course and have directed the course and have helped, create it really from scratch, if you like. And it has been a very successful course. I don't often say that, but it has been a very successful course. And it's actually a very enjoyable thing to teach on, and I hope to be on. I think the video in a wee minute, I hope Kirsty will bear that out for us. But essentially, one of the things about it is it seems to fly in so quickly all the time. And I think that's just a measure of how interesting it is, and how quickly, it goes is because people are engaged in it. And I've got to say as well, I've made quite a few good, and I would consider long-term friends from the students that are on the course as well. They keep in contact with us. And I think it was, again, tantamount to the quality of the course when I came to the conference at City of Glasgow College, and several of the students turned up just to say hello, but also to convince their colleagues and friends that it was the quality of the course. And I was absolutely overjoyed about that. I was absolutely a wee bit embarrassed, I've got to say, but at the same time overjoyed about it, okay? I actually look forward, I hope anyone watching this and the people that are in the audience just now really do give it serious consideration, because it is quite, as Kirsty has said, a unique course. It's a uniquely interesting course. It's also a uniquely powerful course. And I really look forward to meeting some new people in the next academic year, some new students, maybe some new friends, who knows, Kirsty. But I'll hand back over to you, and hopefully we can maybe get a wee look at the video at some point. That would be smashing.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Yep. Yeah, your comments there as well about the colleagues that have come through the TQFE and their opinions of it. It just speaks highly for the course itself, and like you say, attending extracurricular things that they didn't have to just to support the course. I can't really say how that doesn't just absolutely scream how valuable they thought it was if they were there and they wanted others to go on it. So yeah, completely agree. Yep, so as Robert said, we are going to end off today, or end this session just before obviously questions. We're going to have a wee look at the video that was compiled from the students from last year. So if you just bear with me just a moment, I'll get that ready for you. Oh. No, I might stop the share and reshare just to double check that I have the right settings. So let me just do that because I don't want to start and then we can't hear it. Yep, we're all good. Okay. So it's just a few minutes. I'll play it, not say anything in between, and I'll get right back with you when it's done.
My son came up with a joke for me yesterday, which I absolutely loved. He was like, what did Chewbacca say to Princess Leia? Yoda best.
I am a new lecturer, just 3 years into City of Glasgow College. I have all the industrial qualifications and I've got 30 years experience, but I had very little in the way of teaching further education, and that was my motivation to join the Strathclyde course.
It's part of the progression through my job, but I was keen to get on the course as soon as I could, and luckily I'd done the PDA last year, and the way things worked out with staffing, I was next on the list, so I managed to get in. So it's been 4 years now with various other things as a student.
You know, I did this for myself, but also for my students, because I want nothing but the best for them, and I was very conscious that I was in a team of other lecturers who are TQFE qualified, and I wanted to be able to give that same standard, if not better, and to push myself. So yeah, I've always kind of had that commitment for professional development, so it seemed like almost the only route to go down. You would struggle to deliver best practice, I think, if you didn't go on a course such as the TQFE at Strathclyde University.
To be honest with you, I think I would be here all day if I had to tell you what I learned on the course. It was very good, the course was great, but I'm a great one for knowing the basics, and what I learned on the course was the basics of teaching, what the reason behind the teaching was, and how you should apply it to your class, how to look after your students, how to care for them, how to take on board what's happening in your students' life. So there was a million different things that we learned on that course. It was a huge amount of stuff we learned.
Well, there's a lot of focus on the standards, the GTCS standards, which I worked in England before this coming up, so it's a whole new ball game. So I'm a lot more aware of that, and my teaching is now sort of informed by those standards, as the whole point is TQFE is.
Okay, so I really loved the presentation for Module 2, and as much as I was really nervous doing it, it was really valuable because we got to see everybody else's work as well. So just having a space where we could learn from each other and have that sort of collaborative learning in place was really invaluable. And even just benefiting from the different experiences that we all had, as much as we're all in the same course, and lectures and further education, we all are very different in terms of our departments and how we, actually deliver our teaching.
The subject matter experts, if you will. I used to teach in industry as well, and I was the guy that knew all the answers. And I thought my teaching was good until I met other teachers and learned how to teach properly. And it's going to be a journey that goes on forever, because nobody's got all the answers. But preparing for the Viva certainly opens your eyes to a lot of things. And the Viva itself was great fun. It was such a relief at the end of it to find out that it was a lot less, I was expecting thumb screws and a big light in my face, and it was actually very enjoyable. And sometimes I'm not very good at doing the written stuff. I can't quite get across what I wanted to say, but the Viva was the most enjoyable part for me. I got to sit and chat, it was great.
So the Viva was a really good opportunity to kind of consolidate all of our learnings and really reflect on how well we've done and how far we've come. And I think it's just a really important chance to be able to articulate that kind of progression. We have to collaborate as well with our peers, and so being able to kind of discuss that transformative practice and discuss the challenges that we face, I think is really helpful for us to come together as lecturers and really transform learning for our students.
I enjoyed the Viva, and I enjoyed basically sitting down with you guys and putting across my thoughts and how I felt about the course and all the rest of it. Yeah, you're all scared, you're all apprehensive, but once you get your teeth into it and you know that Strathclyde are there to back you up, and City of Glasgow College mentors are there to back you up, you can relax into it and then just enjoy the journey.
So that was the video. I really enjoyed seeing that video every time. It's just so nice to hear from some of the students. And it was actually something that they said I wanted to also talk about as well in terms of your own mentor at your college. It was something that I sort of failed to say during the mentor slide, was that it's ideal that you would have that lecturer development contact within your college, because they would act as your college-based mentor, and that's who would do your first round of observations. So apologies for not mentioning that ahead of time, but I was reminded of that through the video there. But no, absolutely love that video. And it's good to start off with a wee joke at the start, but lovely to hear their comments at the end. So yeah, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think the joke at the beginning is because the lecturer that was doing the interviewing was a Star Wars fan, Kirsty. I think we know that, but essentially the video itself I think is phenomenal, and it's completely natural as well, which is really good. So yeah, so thanks very much, Kirsty, for your input. And I don't know if people want to ask questions or if there's other things we could talk about.
Yeah, fully prepared for anybody to ask any questions. If you have anything at all, that'd be good.